Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we're going to talk about friends with benefits, how it works. I have a couple situations. It wasn't a breakup, but a storyline someone's bringing up that involves friends with benefits with some twists and some turns. I also have another scenario where a client's dealing with his girlfriend flirting with a guy at work that she had a prior relationship with. He sent me a few emails and I'll kind of review that over. Also, before we get started, B and I were talking about this a couple days ago. So sometimes I get comments. I certainly check all the comments from the channel. And I think actually me and B were talking about this before. I think people make less comments now. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say that's? I would say that people are a little less interactive a little bit on YouTube. They watch videos, but their attention's shorter. They're probably less apt to make comments. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Anyways, so with this live stream right now, there's a consistent level of, there's B dropping his Budweiser. My bad. There's a consistent level of maybe 150, 180 views within 2 or 3 days of people that like the live stream, right? Kind of regular group. And a lot of them don't make comments. They watch the content. They watch, the channel and whatnot. But what's interesting is I just got a comment recently, and I've seen this individual in the live stream before. This is the thing about live streams and people that make comments. They don't always use their real name. You don't really know if it's a guy or a woman. You don't know any background on them, but they've been following you, right? So it reads this. And please, if you're one of the people that watches my live stream regularly or later on, please comment on this and give me your take, because I'd like to hear from you.
Definitely.
It said, it says, Mac, you're beginning to mock and shame people who are coming to you for help. I still think you're a great coach. I watch all your videos, but I just wanted to give you a holler regarding my observation. Paltry flowers. First and foremost, your opinion's welcome. I don't have a problem with that. Actually, I would say I see where you're coming from. So there are times when I'm reading a story and I even think afterwards, wow, I went hard on that guy a little bit. Or maybe I was a little bit sarcastic. Now, I would never, and I wrote this back to the guy, I would never intently shame someone. It's one of the lowest things you can do. It's never my intention.
Especially people that are looking for help.
Right. Mocking, being sarcastic, joking, that's kind of part of my personality. Okay.
I can attest to that 100%.
Right. And when I say that, it doesn't land with everyone. But this is the thing about YouTube. You can go around and you can watch, there used to be 15, 20 coaches. Now there's about 100, right? Probably. I don't know, right? Probably. So everyone has their own style, their own way to do things. And I will mock and I will be sarcastic in a fun way. I believe that's part of my personality. And people that come to my channel and watch a few videos and send their story and can expect maybe that kind of reaction.
A little bit, harder than you would see on maybe your typical coach sometimes, right?
Well, yeah. And you got to remember, what I've loved about this journey in coaching and helping people with their breakups, I'm allowed to make my own rules. Okay. And some people like that and some people don't. So clients that I have like the fact that I don't follow a textbook. Mm-hmm. They like the fact that sometimes I'll tease them or joke around. Okay. It's ironic in coaching sessions, people that have some really dark stuff, embarrassing stuff, dare I say shameful stuff, they usually share it with me and they'll say, wow, I couldn't have said that to my therapist. Okay. Now, getting back to your comment. I have had a few times where I thought afterwards, wow, I was tough on that guy. Here's the thing. Every time they'll email me back, because I'm in correspondence with these people that send their story, right? This takes a little bit more work than you think sometimes. I just read the story and give my take. Then I follow up with an email. I might give you some more feedback. We might do a coaching session. There's more to it than just what you're seeing on the live stream. Now, a lot of people that come to me, they'll tell me, please be honest with me. Give it to me straight. Now, here's the major benefit that makes it not so shameful. If you're not on camera and your face isn't shown and you're not around your friends and family,
no names involved,
then it's different. Now, if you noticed, I've been inviting people on the live stream recently. We haven't had a ton of people, but we had a few.
And they've been good too.
I'll treat them a little different. Now, that's the difference when you do live coaching. A really good coach or therapist tailors their therapy and the way they talk to people due to their personality, what they handle well. When you just send your story in, I don't really know you. You have to also realize some of these narratives that come up, one of the best ways to change perspective if you're stuck, right, is humor. Mm-hmm. Or, God, I didn't look at it that way. If I'm making fun of you, like I said, and you're on video on the other end and everyone knows your name, they know where to find you, I could see that being an issue. I just recently had someone that came on the live stream during New Year. She's like, can you please take it down? I didn't realize the video was down. Took it down. It's not my intention. So when you made that comment, I thought about it. I'm not just coming up here going, I can't believe you said that. It's like, wait a minute. Let me digest this. Let me look through this. Right? My feedback from people that send in their story, I've never had someone say, oh, you made me feel shameful. I've had one time in the last 2 years where an individual that sent their story in complained. Now, if you go to my website, it's $25 to get your story read on the live stream. Some people go around that. They send me messages on Instagram. They send me emails. They ignore that fact.
They try to work it.
Right? Yeah. And that's okay. That's going to happen. I'm not sitting here going, oh yeah, I can't believe it. Sometimes if their story's written well, sometimes I'll still read it. It's not going to be guaranteed. Those people, they always write less. They're very vague. And that's one of the things that at this point in coaching that I can be a little irritable with is the vagueness. They don't give you any details. It's like, yeah, we broke up. We had some problems. What's the problems? You'll hear me say that all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to go. They write 2 paragraphs about a breakup that was a 5-year relationship. And so you're like, well, why are you mocking? I don't have enough. What do you want me to do with this? And he sent me through Instagram, right? So sometimes that's based on that. But the shame thing, the interesting thing about that, shame without a face, it's not really the same, right? Or a name, right? These are people sending in stories that are anonymous. But when I get the feedback from them, 99% of the time, I'm going to go back to the one time that the guy complained. 99% of the time, they're like, thanks, I needed to hear that. Wow, you really handed it to me. Because their friends and family aren't being honest with them, or they're not being honest with themselves. It's like the amount of times B's been on this space for a little while, so you didn't even know about it before he came in. Maybe 6 months, maybe 5 months.
Yeah.
Some things are becoming redundant to you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So like the thing is, oh man, I can't get over. It's like, have you been going on Instagram again? Oh yeah, but I can't stop. I'm gonna mock you for that because you can't stop. It's a repetitive thing where people go, and she liked my post, and I don't know what to think. To me, you need to get checked for that one. You need some kind of slap in the mouth for that. Right? It's not going to work out. Oh, yeah, Instagram's really hard to deal with these days. And you should go watch, the documentary. What's the documentary? The social concept or the
dilemma, I think.
Social dilemma, right? You should watch that. Like, instead, I'm like, no, you can stop using Instagram. Stop lying to yourself. Stop playing that game. Right?
Right.
There's no shame in that. That's you getting a sharp, swift reality check. And people oftentimes, when they send in their story, they'll note at the end, please be honest with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, like I said, my style could definitely come off as mocking, sarcastic, or making a joke at things. Shaming people, that's a stretch. Now, if it comes off that way, I would certainly hope if an individual felt that way, that their response would be like, I don't want to. If you feel shame, then you feel like you've done something wrong or you're doing some things wrong. Make some changes. But shame without a face, it's really difficult. Anonymous shame, does that exist? And finally, I have people that go, oh, I talk to this coach or I talk to that coach. And we all have our own styles. And that's what I love about YouTube. You can watch a bunch of videos before you make a decision. And you go, I like this guy's style. I don't like this guy's style. Right? And there's a lot of fakies out there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me get into the friends with benefits. Sam Lujan, always a pleasure. Justin Brown, always on deck. Let's get into it.
What's going on?
Friends with benefits. It's the only relationship B does. So that's why I was going to talk about it today, because he's an expert on the.
Is that why?
That's all he does. Okay. He's like, he searches it out. He goes to special websites internationally.
Is there FWB?
Wouldn't that be funny if there was just, thinking about it, like if there was just intentional, maybe there is, intentional dating apps that were like, this is only for friends with benefits.
That's basically what Tinder was, right?
You think so? I don't think they're friends. I think they're just.
Yeah, I guess maybe not friends.
Buddies.
Yeah. But you want to be just for friends? You're searching for friendship and just benefits?
Friends with benefits. Number one, it's got a shelf life. It won't last long term. A year tops. Now, someone will say, oh, it could be 2-3 years. I'm just giving you my take on it. Mm-hmm. Number two, you are telling each other, I can do better, but in the meantime, let's hook up. That's a great way to look at it, because it's kind of fucking true.
Totally is.
Because if you're holding back, the only other caveat to that could be is that you got really, and this is common, you got really hurt in a breakup before, right, or you were in a 7-year, 6-year, 5-year relationship, right, and you're like, I just don't want to be in a relationship for a year
at all.
But the other part of that is, even if you were in a 6, 7, 8-year relationship and she knocked your socks off, or she was so great and wonderful, you'd probably go, I can make the exception.
Yeah.
So number two, you are telling each other, I can do better, but in the meantime, let's hook up. Number three, someone will meet someone else. Now, this is the reality that people go, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. Rita Rose, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rita.
Right? Number three, someone will meet someone else. Now, when you're friends with benefits, you don't think about that. You're like, it's cool, man. It's like, we're hooking up. It's casual. No one's serious.
You're getting some things fulfilled, so,
And then I've never been in this situation where I was in a friends with benefits where I was worried about this or the other foot dropped. Mm-hmm. Let me know in the comments if you've been in one of these situations. I'm curious. Right? And then there's sometimes where someone's like, oh, it's friends with benefits. And the other person's like, they're pursuing you. Right. And you're just not being honest with yourself.
Or the signals are a little.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what friends with benefits gets a little bit murky. And also friends with benefits is very day to day. It's like, you have some kind of sad thing happen in your life. You're like, that's when you want to be closer to someone. You get fired from your job. When you have hard times, that's the best time when you have a good partner.
Absolutely.
Like, you just want to talk to your most trusted companion and partner. When I talk to people in breakups, one of their toughest times is the holidays, or when they have a tough time at school and the university, they didn't pass it. Who do you talk to? Right. When you're adults, you can't just call your parents all the time anymore. Right? Number 4, sharing about your attraction to others could hurt. Now, some people are really insensitive to this. Some people are testing each other as friends with benefits, but they'll do this thing where they'll be like, oh, I started seeing this guy, or I started seeing this chick, and the other person's acting, because I've been on the coaching end of this, the other person's acting like they don't care, but they're fucking crushed inside. Oh, we're just and then they start talking about someone else they're into. This is all a possibility. Number 5, this is when it works best, when both feel like they don't want a serious relationship. Mm-hmm. If people are dug in, and in order to understand that too, there's individuals that's just their nature anyways. They're independent. They're laid back. They haven't had a lot of serious relationships. And so it just suits them to be in casual hookups or friends with benefit situations. They may have had them before. That being said, it's just not ideal long term. But if both of you are like, I just don't want a serious relationship. Okay. If one of you is like, oh, maybe down the road, I want to get married and have kids. And the other person's like, never. Who's going to end up hurting the friends with benefits? Think about that. Now, number 6, someone always has stronger feelings. And that's the one that gets hurt usually. Now, there's always an exception. Because the person, I always say this, every person that's really good with women or every woman that's really good with guys, whether you're measuring that by like, oh, I always get attention from guys, or I've always had a lineup of women. You always are going to meet your match. You're always going to be like, oh shit, I didn't know I had this strong of feelings about this person. You're always going to meet your match. Always. What I mean by your match is someone that humbles your ass. You think I'm talking about soulmates? No. I'm talking about getting humbled. You know what I mean by being humbled, B? Like, people talk about karma. I like the idea of karma. I roll with karma because I think it's a good way to live. Mm-hmm. Whether it's true or not, who the fuck's going to prove that? Right? Someone's like, wait a minute. It's like, fine. It's a philosophy. Mm-hmm. Do good, get good. Mm-hmm. What goes around comes around. You know what? The longer you live, the more true it becomes. Right. That's, you know what I mean? Like some people in their 20s, oh yeah, I don't believe. It's like, all right, well, give it about 30, 40 years and then see what happens in your life.
See if it's more good or bad.
Right, whatever. Yeah. So always remember that. Number 7, ask yourself, why not more than friends with benefits? Great question to ask. You don't need to ask the person you're with.
That's the question, right?
It's a great question because you're like, and you can go, well, I'm really not that attracted to her. Mm-hmm. Smokes cigarettes and drinks 2 or 3 beers a night. Over time, I know it'd be okay. Those things come up, then you'll know why. Instead of just like, oh, it's just not there. I'm just not that attracted. There's something more to it. Next question. What holds you back? Similar question. What holds you back? Mm-hmm. For you to be asking yourself the questions, then it puts you in a position to understand why you want friends with benefits. Mm-hmm. Why do you believe this will work for you and for a lot of times in friends with benefits, I'm like, that'll work just fine. I have myself. That can sound cocky and arrogant. I'm just in the positions I've been in. I've thought about it. Guess what? Friends with benefit post breakup. That's a different game. I've done that. That's not fun.
I've
done that with the mentality of,
with the same person you've broken up with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh, we can be, and I mean, you don't say friends with benefits, but you keep seeing each other and you're casually seeing each other, right? But guess what? Even the person that cares less still gets hurt in that because it's like, you're my girlfriend, you're fucking seeing someone else, you're talking to someone online right now. You might not say it, you don't have a right, but your mind cannot go into the mode of friends with benefits, if that makes sense.
You're still hanging on to part of the relationship that
you're putting yourself in a position where you're like, yeah, let's be friends with benefits. Because you think, so when I say this, why do you believe this will work for you? So as a man, I'm just going to give you back a little segue in my life. Post breakup with my girlfriend, this is years back. We're still seeing each other. We're still hooking up. Right. And actually, it's better sex than when we were not getting along, right?
Sure.
But in the back of my head, I'm going, this is cool because I can date other women.
I'm still hooking up with her.
I'm still a free agent. I still got this going. All the while, you're ignoring the fact that she has the same option, and your mind is still thinking, my girl. Now, men often do this. Women don't say my man as much. Guys, for some reason, will always say, this is my girl. This is my girlfriend. Mine. So when you go post breakup and you go friends with benefits, it doesn't translate well. Because you're like, wait a minute, it's mine. Well, wait a minute, we're not together anymore.
Wait a second.
What? Number 8, are the benefits the same for both of you? That's a great question. Right? If it's just outstanding intimacy, good talks, and you both like to go to the beach, I don't know. Are the benefits the same for both of you? Or is one person with you because you have more money and they need help, with rent? Like, is it lopsided?
So there's extra benefits?
Sure.
On some, yeah.
If you think about friends with benefits, it's not just intimacy. It's probably a couple other things. All right, let's get to the Miguel. Miguel did a hypnosis today.
Did he really?
Yeah.
And that's why I said he passed out?
Yep. If anyone wants to try hypnosis with me, go ahead and go to rightmac.com and book a session.
Miguel, I feel you 100%. I did the same thing.
You fell asleep?
Yeah.
But you went under.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be a slight lag because the internet at the house I'm at right now is a little bit slow. Kind of sucks. Now I'm thinking about it. Now I'm being conscientious here. Eduardo Martinez. Eduardo Martinez. It's just going to be what it is, I think.
Yeah.
Rob IS, what's up?
What's up, Rob?
So I'm new to the streams and know that you've created a great relationship with Eduardo. He has a relationship where he can joke with you and you with him. It's not offensive. It's all personal perception. Some people get it and some don't.
Exactly.
I think what I was getting at was that the person made a good point. People send in their stories and sometimes my comments or jokes or sarcasm can offend people. Like, wow, you're patronizing them, or you're mocking them, or you're shaming them. And like I said, watch the videos before you send in the story. But there's certainly people out there that go, let me go to 15 coaches and see which information I like best. You should go to different channels and say, who's a person that's admirable and respectable to me that lines up with my personality?
There you go. Yeah.
Right? I like for me personally, breakup Brad.
Not happening.
If I was in a bad breakup, no. Cheese Whiz times 10, infomercial, extremely fake. People that use stock photos on their books, red flag. Do you know what I mean by that? It's and just I'm breakup Brad. It's like Craig Kenneth. And someone might go, wow, you're really attacking me. I'm saying for me,
just personally,
yeah, those are people I wouldn't go to because they come off as generic. And I don't feel like I would have a good rapport with them. Right? I would rather have, I like Corey Wayne. Not sure I'm going to pay $1,000, but I like someone like I said, have a sense of humor, have an opinion, those kinds of things. So you have choices. You have choices. We do have some dandy stories today. Some real dandies. Doesn't seem like it's lagging too much.
Yeah, how's the lag?
Some real gems here. Let me get into, before I go to the story. And if you guys are watching this and you watch later on, please in the comments, let me know. Little bird out there.
What are you doing? Checking out the birds?
Yeah, there's a bird right on the windowsill. And then I got sidetracked right there. Like, what is that? Is that a blue jay in Thailand? I'm like, we don't have blue jays.
No, I've never seen a blue jay.
Let me pull this up real quick. So this was actually a story that came out. I might have already reviewed part of it. But it's an interesting situation because This guy was in a new relationship. What's up, Skinner? This guy was in a new relationship. He had come to me within the last 6 months. Okay. Actually, a Corey Wayne client too. Like he had his story read on Corey Wayne.
Okay.
Anyhow, he started dating a new woman, was really excited about her. And I'm just going to share what he wrote. And like I said, I might have mentioned this on a previous live stream, but then the latest part of it, I didn't. So let me just get into this. Hey, Mac, I hope you're doing well. I could use your perspective. Last time we spoke, I mentioned dating a girl from the past. Things got serious. We had several honesty talks and what went on in our time apart. I was on, and this guy's extremely honest and clear. He writes, I was as honest and clear as I felt needed to be. I'm just saying, because I did a live coaching session with him, this is just how he is, very upfront. She mentioned having flirty exchanges with a coworker and nothing more. Okay. This is, if you monitored how many flirty exchanges I've had while I've had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's up to personality. Sometimes it's where you work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And do you want to know?
Mm-hmm. I think if everyone had a camera on them, it might be
right. I've had one girlfriend in particular, extremely flirtatious. It was her personality. Someone's like, "Oh, that's not right." She was just outgoing, vivacious, voluptuous, and friendly. Like you'd go out to the mall and it'd be like, "Oh, there's my friend. Oh, there's this," and it wasn't like everyone was a hookup. She's just an outgoing and friendly person. Does it affect your relationship sometimes? Yeah, it gets old. As a guy, when it's your girlfriend, you're like, you know a lot of guys, hon, right? Now, if she mentions that you dated before and now you haven't dated for a year, 6 months, 2 years, and she's like, "Oh, I had flirty exchanges with a coworker," I don't really want to know anything. I don't even want to know that. I've had flirty exchanges. I you know what I mean? It's harmless. It's a non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Okay. I ended up getting the third degree about a few things I was honest about. Okay. I don't know if you need to have that talk if you were dating and then you weren't dating, because it opens up a can of worms. You both were free agents. You both were allowed to do whatever you wanted. Do you really want to know? I don't want to know. If you dated someone 2 years ago and then you start getting serious, I certainly don't want to know the nitty gritty.
No.
I don't want to know petty shit. I just want to know maybe like, oh, were you with someone in between as a boyfriend, girlfriend or something like that? Maybe. Yeah.
Just a general.
I don't want to know your lay count or anything.
No.
I'm really didn't believe her entirely that it was just work related, but I can't force someone to be honest. Well, I mean, sometimes you know, if you can't trust someone. Over the past week, she kept bringing up the guy's name up in conversations. Now, I think I did talk about this in a live stream. I just didn't do the follow-up. I've dealt with this in a relationship, and it does bring up a guy's name from work over and over again. There's not a lot you can do. Hey, stop saying his name. Insecure
for sure. Yeah.
Right? Hey, I know you like him. Not sure, really. Because the guy could just be, you know, one of those guys that gives a lot of attention and has no chance. But women like attention. Men like attention too. So it can be a tough situation to be in.
Because you really don't know.
I mean, because if you're really secure, you're like, all right. But it gets to a point. I remember it got to a point. I'm like, I'm fucking tired of this.
Stop telling me.
Yeah. Like this guy. Then asking me if it bothered me. Now she's sensing that probably by your reaction. Something didn't sit right. I did a little digging. It was much more than casual and continued through dating and ending a month and a half ago. Some of it was disturbing since she was saying similar things to him while professing her love to me, saying I'm the one that got away. I'm not terribly surprised she lied about the level of the relationship. Women do that. What I am concerned about is the after fact. We had some really amazing nights and weekends while she was texting this guy. I personally think a lot more people, when I say people, men and women, do this early in relationships,
spinning plates, kind of.
I wouldn't call it just spinning plates. I would say just, I've heard this term, back burners.
Okay.
In other words, keeping a candle lit in the closet just in case something goes wrong, I can rotate and pivot out.
Just in case, yeah.
I think a lot of people do that.
It's your backup.
Right.
Yeah.
I know B does it all the time. So what I'm concerned about is the after fact. So I confronted her about calmly and she continued to lie. I have the text. So the one thing about the world now that's never been before with these texting situations, videos, when you lie,
it's recorded.
When you lie and it's been on text or video, I'm telling you, one of the things I was telling B this earlier, I could write a book, Confessions of a Breakup Coach. And I'll tell you what, the amount of people that collect your text or video and find a way, and I don't even know, like I said,
Seriously.
I mean, you don't need to be a fucking CIA agent to figure out how to get into someone's text. I've never done it. I've never even been someone that like finds my girlfriend's code and goes through her phone or anything like that. Right? But it's easier said than done. When someone's asking you questions, you should go,
do they know?
Where's this coming from? Because I can't tell you the amount of times that men, especially men, not women as much, gather some information primarily from your text messages or your emails, but primarily from text messages.
And they keep it.
Concrete information.
Right.
Concrete information. Right? And then they go, hey, and they fucking minefield booby trap your ass into baited questions for you to lie. Right. I haven't personally been in that situation, but it comes up again and again. So just be aware, folks. Is it 2023?
Yes.
Time flies, folks. But in 2023, you know, when you think like, oh, yeah. Number one, don't make too many videos when you're doing bad things. And text, the hardest part about that is they get misinterpreted. But like when someone finds the text, there's no ambiguity. There's no, well, you know, there's a guy at work that I kind of talked to. It's like, no, you wrote, hey, what are you doing tonight, Todd?
Right.
I saw the text. But here's the thing. I don't know why, especially men, they won't come and confront their lady like, hey, I saw the text. They'll go, they don't want to admit that they were snooping in your phone. So they'll just ask you all these questions. And then when you lie, they start to get a little more heated, but they start to feel validated because they're like, I knew she was fucking lying.
Is it to catch them in the lie, you think?
It is, but your what I learned about psychology over the years is like your subconscious always wants to be right. By the way, Clean Mind today, we just posted 2 more new, you guys want to check that out, 2 more new meditations. And your expectations are going to dictate what happens. So manifestation, just think about your expectations. Oh, I know she's going to lie.
So you're kind of leading yourself that way.
So your unconscious says, let me put her in a position to lie.
Right, so to validate yourself.
So why, instead of putting her in a position, hey, I got this. Why? Let's just play devil's advocate here with B, because he's been in these situations, I think, sometimes. He's, right? If you were in the situation, would you come out and ask? Or would you hold it and see if she continues to lie?
I would come out and ask. That's just me. That's just me personally. I don't think I would hold things like that. I don't want to sit on it. I would just feel worse that way.
B's in the minority.
I'm definitely, I mean, I don't know, but
I just think it's tempting because at that point they feel like she's been lying to me. Let me see if she continues. And then you get off on the fact like, yeah, I knew it. Yeah, I knew it. All the while, who wins? I don't know. So let me get back to this. I have the text. I've stepped away because I felt that's best. I don't feel I can trust her at this point because of this. I'd love to hear your perspective when your schedule allows. Okay, so this is a little peek into my email. So I'm not going to say his name. I said, what evidence do you have? Because he just said, I have a text.
Right.
So that's kind of vague.
But were they texting when they were not together still? Right? Where they were they were broken up, or
all right, don't just get ahead of it, okay? Fuck, B. Come on, man. All right. So what evidence? So this is what I asked him based on what I just read you. What evidence? What's the evidence you have? I'm not. He says I have a text. That's it. Private text? Question mark. I wrote, I'm not judging that you did digging, if that's even proper grammar. Just want more to the story before I reply. My short answer? While you were dating, she was probably still keeping her options open as she wasn't sure what your long-term intentions were. I believe you were the one that cut things off with her before, because I know this guy like from a coaching session. So I'm saying if you did that before, human nature would be, well, maybe I'm, not sure about this person. Okay. If she was still talking to this guy in a flirting manner prior to you being official, caps locked,
right?
I'm not sure that's all bad. Because this is a gray area a lot. Well, we were dating. When were you official?
Official.
Like there's still something to that. People go, oh, we were dating. Were you official? There's a difference when it's like, you're my girlfriend. You're introducing.
100%.
Totally different, right? She's allowed to keep her options open until you both agree you're exclusive. That's just my playbook. I don't like it. I wouldn't like to think that a girl that I was dating was keeping her options open, but really, what am I doing if we're not exclusive? Relationships are built over time. When she was flirting with this guy, if it was during a gray area before you were together, that's okay to me. Okay. Now, the fact that they still work together and she's still attracted to him, that's something to monitor and keep a close eye on or ear on. How do they closely work together, and what's this guy's status? Is he married? So those were questions I asked. Okay. I'll discuss the scenario on a live stream today. So this was like December 12th. I don't remember if I discussed this or not. I probably did. But I lost the email that he responded. Thanks, Mac. Yes. Private text messages. They work on the same floor, same department, very closely. How do you get around that? Quit your job? Move? I don't know.
Tough.
Okay, so that's a tough situation. We are exclusively dating. We both agreed to only see each other, just not Facebook official or anything. So to me, I've had girlfriends before that's like, let's just keep our Facebooks separate. I'm not even active on Facebook. I didn't even really care. And I know she's had probably guys contacting her, but I know she's with me every night. I know how much she's into me, so it's enough for me. It depends on how much value you put on Facebook, but why wouldn't you put that there? If you use Facebook regularly, I would think, well, why aren't you official on there? If Facebook doesn't mean much to you?
What would be holding you back from that?
Just the fact that you mentioned it means... Here's the longer part of the story. The guy was married. See, this is where the devil's in the details, right? They supposedly separated. Him and the girl I'm mentioning started doing whatever. Then he blew her off and went back to his wife. Now, apparently, the guy and his wife are done again, and she's bringing up his name a lot. Okay, well, there you go. That's called a pattern. He's available. He knows he hooked up with her before. She's attracted to him. By the way, they're spending, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours together at work. And this is a hard thing to overcome. B and I were talking about this earlier. Yesterday, actually. It really does count. Like if you had a stay-at-home wife, which is kind of looked down upon in America, don't you think?
I think
depends on the circle.
I guess, yeah, but I think more now than
ever. Well, what's the number one question in America? What do you do?
What do you do?
Oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Well, if the other ones aren't stay-at-home moms, it's like, oh, really?
You don't work?
Oh, really? Wow. Guess that's nice. Right? So, but when you work, when a woman works or a guy works, who they spend time with at work's big. And then when they come home, they're tired. So they don't have as much energy for you. I guess that's my concern. I get girls keep their options open, and so do it. She didn't choose me over him. She just didn't have any other options. Okay, so that's a narrative.
That's a narrative for sure, yeah.
That's a negative narrative. I don't know if that's helping.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other guy went back to his wife, and she was very distraught from what I've read in the text. And this is why I wouldn't want to know about those texts. If that was during the gray area and you weren't together, she kind of has a right to that privacy.
Sure.
In my book. Chris Puckett, how you doing, bud? Wow, everyone's out tonight. What is it? It's Thursday night in this. I mean, what's going on here, folks? So, getting back to this, and I got one more story on deck. I'm glad we got 15 on deck. This is special. It's been a while. Go ahead and throw some money in the super chat. B's been really low on funds recently, so put a little coinage in his can. So I guess that's my concern. I get the girls keep their options open, and so do it. She didn't choose me over him. She just didn't have any other options. Like I said, I don't know if that's true. The other guy went back to his wife. She was very distraught. Kind of like, would you be here if you weren't blown off? See, to me, would you be here if you didn't go snooping in her text messages? Now, let me just play devil's advocate here. I'm not against this guy, but if I'm dating a woman and this happened to me, and she's like, well, 4 months ago, you were screwing this other girl from work, or you were with someone else. It's like, it's before we were together.
We weren't together. Regardless Yeah.
I mean, it counts who you mingle with at work. It's like some people ask me, my parents have been married for like 50 years. I should know. It's 40 something plus. Everyone's like, oh my God, what an accomplishment. It's like, yeah, well, my dad's extremely lucky because a lot of women will get, like, it's just, there's a lot of ins and outs to that. Now, what I've talked about before, my dad was a truck driver, worked with all men. There was no, and maybe there's some women truck drivers like, come on. I'm just telling you, it's not very many women in the field.
Now the ratios.
Maybe now there's a few, but like he worked with no women. He had no interaction with women. Right? My mother worked in a dentist office with like 3 hygienists, like a small practice dentist. The dentist was quite a bit older. The hygienists were all females.
Yeah.
Married. All married long term. Guess what? This will get interesting to the caveat to this. Now, she worked for 2 different dentists. She worked there for like 30 plus years, right? Office manager, not secretary, by the way.
Office manager. I like
don't get it fucking twisted, B. Don't you ever call an office manager a secretary.
I won't.
Now, the first doctor, dentist that she worked for got a divorce. Like I said, he was quite a bit older than her when she first started. She started at like 20, 21. Guess who he remarried to? Just take a guess on the live chat if anyone's listening to my story right now. Who do you think he got married? This is in the age before dating apps, before red pill, before spinning plates. This is when, guy gets divorced, he's looking for a new wife. Where do you think he met his wife?
You worked with her?
One of the hygienists. So everyone's going, oh yeah, that's probably, one of the hygienists who was in a marriage with an alcoholic, a bad guy. They ended up married for a long time. Now, a new doctor buys the practice. Stay with me. A new doctor buys the practice. Right? Nice guy, married. I remember as a kid, this doctor, like going to like kids' birthdays and stuff. And his wife, I was like 6 or 7. She wasn't a nice person.
You could just vibe.
Yeah. Like she just wasn't.
Right.
She's a bitch, right? Why do I not want to say that? It's like YouTube gets you like, don't say the B word. Now, they had 2 kids, whatever. They get a divorce, the standard, right? The rich doctor, she takes him to the cleaners and all this other stuff. Who does he end up with, B?
Someone he works with.
A hygienist from next door at the dentist. Before dating apps, right?
Right.
Workplaces count.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's not going to go, oh, just by the way, on your dating app here, it says you work with all men. You know what I mean? Like, keep that in mind when you're dating. Like, what's the work atmosphere like? I'm not saying you can control it, but it's a variable. Right? It's a variable. And if they work with more men, it's hard. All right. So, kind of like what you do if you weren't blown up. Or what now, since this guy is single again, you really hung up on him? The lying about it isn't helping. There's a chance they could hook up again. If they work closely together in an apartment, it's a stronger chance. It'd be a stronger chance if you guys were really in a serious relationship to ask her to change departments.
What's the current status of their relationship? Is it they're official?
I'll have to email him back because this was a couple weeks ago. But if you think about it, what I just said, if she was really committed, be like, hey, look, I know you guys got a history. I know about this stuff. I'd like you to change departments or change schedules because I don't think it's going to be good for the both of us. Now, that might not go well. She might not agree to that. She might say she loves her job. But what are the other answers here? Is it inevitable that she'll hook up? No. But if I was put in a situation where I had a girlfriend, she's a good girlfriend, and then I have some girl that I work with regularly that I'm really into also, I'd be, could I just shut off the spigot on those feelings and attraction? I don't know.
It's not a great situation.
It's not a good situation. It's like I said, if you're fat and you're on a diet, don't have ice cream in the fucking fridge. And so, you know what I mean? What's the worst thing you can do when you're on a diet? Have fatty foods around your house. And what you're going to say? No, it's convenience. So it's a tough situation to be in. The guy's already hooked up with her once. She's attracted to the guy. Yeah. Can she turn the corner on that? Yeah, she's probably going to have to make an effort. Like I said, to change departments. To say this is not a good situation. Not for you, because she knows the temptation's high and the guy's going to be flirting and he's probably going to be pulling a few, oh yeah, what, like, you having some trouble with so-and-so? Right. Old captain. Let me get into the comments before I get to this other story that's pretty good. It's a pretty good situation, actually, because I reviewed this one. It's a little different than your average bear. Rye Flint, how you doing? The great Rick, happy birthday. Out in San Diego. Just had a San Diegoite a few days ago. I'm excellent, buddy. Brand new Skinner from Chicago. The Bears. Bulls.
The Bears.
All right. And if anyone wants to pop on the live stream after this story, I'll throw you a copy. Just realize that it's going to be live. And if you don't want to show your face, then you don't have to do that. But don't like B was surprised that lady that came on the live stream and she wanted it taken down. I was like, I wasn't surprised. She said, if you think about it, Odd Carlo, happy New Year, bud. I'm not in Korea. I'm actually thankfully in Thailand. I think it's better than Korea. I'm in Phuket. Wow, man, some of these Thailand videos on YouTube. There was someone that just started a channel. It came up in my feed yesterday. He only had 2 videos, and one was on Thailand. It had 77,000 views.
Really?
And he just started. That's crazy, huh?
Yeah. 2 videos. Wow.
All right. So, like I said, anyone has a problem with their breakup or situation, you want to come on and talk about it. You got a situationship, which doesn't mean a breakup or something like that, but you just want to talk about your like that guy. That's a situationship, right? Yeah. And it's actually really good to unpack that because you need to get a different perspective when your feelings are all entangled in that.
Sure, you just kind of don't know where to go.
You start going, this guy from work, this fucking guy, this guy. It's like, what's the solution? Right. It's not bagging on this guy or saying that she's talked to him. That's already been done.
Not
It's
at
like
all.
like how can we look at, hey, hon, I want you to change departments. Are you looking at working here long term? Like I said, oh, you're just being insecure. All right, well, tell me some other options here because I'm not comfortable with this guy and you sit next to each other and you guys have already hooked up.
No.
And you guys talk regularly and I'm all sitting here on the sidelines playing backup quarterback. No. Someone might say, oh, that's like an ultimatum. Well, all right, let's get into it. This, like I said, let me pull this one up. This one's a dandy. Hey, coach, I got a situation that's not a breakup. I was dating a woman before COVID started. So I guess that's about 2.5 years ago. Fucking time flies, man. 2.5 years ago. It is 2.5 years ago too, huh?
Yeah, probably.
We were really going well. I thought eventually we'd be together. We knew each other prior to dating. I was actually her boss a couple years before we started dating, so we knew each other longer than we dated. Okay, good context there. We were actually seeing each other for 6 weeks. But like I said, it was going really well. Then she moved to her hometown when COVID started because her family was in a panic. They thought it was best she was there. So a lot of people did that during COVID. I know people in their 40s or 50s that moved back with their families because they thought it was Armageddon. Totally understandable. Okay. Then she moved to her hometown when COVID started. Okay, sorry. It was only supposed to be a month, but she ended up there for 6 months. The first month we attempted to do FaceTime calls nightly, but she abruptly ended that, telling me she couldn't do this and that she has to stop leaning on me for all her problems. So I don't have a problem with you don't want to do long distance. There's some uncertainty. There's COVID going wrong. But to throw in like, oh, I just got to stop leaning on you for all my problems. I don't like that statement. What was puzzling was days earlier, she sent me some truck delivered gifts that were really thoughtful. Well, so you got someone here that's very impulsive, immature with their feelings, and emotionally unstable. Okay? Done. So for her to want to stop talking 2 days later and do it over text surprised me, but being that we weren't seeing each other very long, I just told her okay and accepted and never called or texted again. Excellent work. Thank you for sharing that. That's textbook. Okay. Don't want to be with me? Even if you're crying the blues, you're uncomfortable in a particular situation like that, you've only been together 6 weeks, it's not ideal. Okay. Leave it alone. Let her sit in it. She probably was surprised too. Like, oh, wow, you didn't chase me? I was immediately talking to some new women. Excellent. And dated throughout that year and did well with, even though it was COVID. Cool. I believe you.
Cool.
Then she moved back and called me out of the blue and then asked her to dinner. Partially why she called you out of the blue is because you just said okay when she pulled her crap on you. Right? Then I asked her to dinner, but she declined and made up some excuses. So I again just stopped talking to her. Great move. The final 3 months later, then finally 3 months later, she asked me to dinner, where she kept apologizing for what she deemed as no contact and letting me go. I told her no need to be sorry. It was long distance, and I don't like long distance anyway. She continued on with the sorries as if she was trying to create this storyline that she let me go and that I was really hurt by it. Honestly, it wasn't great, but I was okay. We were only dating for 6 weeks after she ended it, and I was already seeing other women and good ones.
Like she was putting all this extra weight on it, and it didn't need to be.
It bothered me that she kept going there. The dinner date ended, and I thought I'll pass on going out again as she is just too full of herself and doesn't know it. And that's what I would say. This is ego-based. Like, oh, I had to let you go.
Right.
I'm so sorry. It's like, well, don't worry about it. I hooked up with some other women after you. You're not the only piece of pie on the planet. Then about a year later, she popped her head up again, texted me for lunch. I met her, and she was all done up. I could tell she was in the market for some action.
Okay.
I believe you. Okay. I was actually dating 2 women at the time, so I didn't really want anything from this meetup Plus, I was moving soon. Well, I mean, why meet her then?
Yeah, I was gonna ask like, why the meetup?
So I left it alone, but kept in contact. She told me a month later via text that she had gone back to her ex, which I could tell she wanted me to know. So I never contacted her again. Good move. I mean, this is one of those things. I think we were just talking about this earlier. Like, you're keeping her on the back burner as an option. But if you ever got entangled with this woman again,
doesn't seem like
it seems like she likes to make power plays, and control the situation,
play games a little bit.
You've rotated out of that pretty cleanly, and so that's what's keeping her attracted.
Yep.
Then
she's not used to it for sure.
If she's not used to it, women, and if she's fairly attractive, she's really not used to it. Now you've provided a challenge, and this is why I say again and again, when someone rejects you, especially women, if you say okay or you're just whatever about it, or neutral. I don't think you can just be whatever about it. Excuse me. Okay,
right?
I understand. Yeah, that's actually an opportunity for you to prove that you don't need them and you have other options. Then about 3 weeks ago, she invited me to dinner. I met her. We had some drinks. Wow, this is a long fucking timeline here. Yeah. This is a good example of this is a great example of this guy could have gotten really upset during COVID when she first cut him off and sent him a surprising text and breaking up with him. He could have easily been like, oh, you this, you're that.
Sure.
Could have kept calling her. He could have begged her back.
But he kept the line open.
By saying, okay, I understand. And by being neutral, by, being stoic, if you will.
Yeah.
It's kept her in the game the whole time. And now she's always an option, off and on, off and on. Then about 3 weeks ago, she invited me to dinner. I met her. We had some drinks. She was flirty. And then she announced that she was in a long-distance relationship with her ex still. Wow. And they were getting married in 6 months. Keep in mind, she was still being flirty. Well, this says a lot about her morals and values. I'm sure she wasn't telling her fiance that she was meeting up with you. I didn't get it, which goes with the narrative. She does things that are surprising, that are impulsive, and she does things that are for her.
Right.
So if I had a fiance, I wouldn't be meeting up with old flames going, hey, just thought we would, talk.
Just talk.
Because I'm guessing before you met for dinner, she didn't tell you this little piece of information.
Probably not.
I didn't get it. I joked how I might have to stay at her place. I had too many drinks. She said sure and smiled. I ended up not doing it, but I'm wondering now what to make of all this. I have no interest in making her a long-term partner, but there was a time 2 years ago where I thought she was the one. Well, she's definitely not the one now, dude.
No.
So this is why when people go, oh, soulmate's the one, it's like, stay tuned, gather some more information before you start going, oh, this is the soulmate, this is the best I've ever had, right?
Right.
Kick the brakes, man. Kick the brakes a little bit. I was even telling my mother about her. Wow, now you're being a little vulnerable with the information here. But now I'm wondering, should I pursue just as a friend with benefits? Okay. Go for it. But a woman like this, she doesn't even know what she wants. She's a game player.
Game player. Yep.
When you mess with someone, she's not married yet.
But she's
not married yet. And I'm not going to get into like whose morals and values are what.
Right.
Okay. But then you open up the door, like this guy comes back into town, finds out, he's all upset. Right. There's all kinds of variables here. I would say that you've been surprised more than once. She's all over the place. If you wanted to hook up with her, go for it. Right. But
it just might lead to some messy things. I don't know, man.
Ask yourself those questions I asked them, like, why would you even want to be friends with benefits? What's the real take? Is it just ego, just to bang her?
Unless he's like really attracted to her,
There you go. I mean, it could be that. Some guys get off on the fact like, she's getting married, I better get it in before. You know what I mean? I've never met the guy she's marrying and she doesn't seem too in love with him. That's
the take on that.
But I know she's committed to marrying him. Something inside me wants to hook up with her. Well, I know what that something inside you is if you don't. It's in the mid region. Yep. few times before she gets married. I wouldn't be surprised if she does want to hook up before she gets married. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, what are you really going to get out of that? You're going to tell me that story? You're going to send me some, it's funny when you get to a certain age and you've had enough intimacy, intercourse, you can't really take those scenarios with you. It's like, let's say you do hook up with her 2 or 3 times. Then what?
But with a girl like this, like, is marriage the stop to that? Like, if she's willing to do this when she's, engaged?
What I would say that you're not seeing, let's say you do hook up. Let's say you have a few drinks, because you mentioned you had a few drinks. And then the next day she's like, oh my God, I made a huge mistake. It's like, are you going to feel great about that? Or 6 months later, the guy's in town and they're walking at a dinner place and they're hand in hand with their rings on and you run into them. Are you going to feel like, yeah, I tapped that? Or are you going to feel like, oh man, that poor dude, you just made yourself a part of that. So it's just a choice. I guess it's just an ego thing. I actually don't think I have much to lose.
Well,
I don't think you have much to lose either, but she's just an erratic woman.
But you have to be prepared for that.
I mean, there are some things that, what if she gets attached to you and it's like, oh, I broke off my fiance. I really like you. Where can we go with this? And she starts to be in a psycho.
You're not all in on it.
Yeah. Her behavior is erratic. My question is, do I go out with her again, knowing it's just a hookup and she'll be married soon? I would say, judged based on you knowing her 2.5 years and never getting a read on her behavior or her feelings, where one day she's into you, one day she's out of you. She sounds bipolar. I never say that. You might be setting yourself up for a booby trap here, where what if she gets attached? What if she's like, whoa,
And I don't know, are you cool with just being the guy on the side? You know what I mean?
From what this guy's writing, it sounds like he's thinking about friends with benefits. He doesn't have strong feelings for her.
But she's engaged. Are you cool with just being the dude on the side? Like, that's...
I think he's okay with that, it sounds like. That being said, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a no-go for a lot of people. Like, you don't want to fuck with people's relationships and whatever, so...
A part of me thinks she still misses me and that she wants me to sweep her off her feet, because I can tell she's just getting married because she believes it's the right thing to do at 29 years old. Well, that's a story you're telling yourself that you don't know is true or not true. Right. Now, why are you telling yourself that story? Because usually the stories we tell ourselves, we want to believe to support our actions. So let's just reread that. Part of me thinks she still misses me and that she wants me to sweep her off her feet, because I can tell she's just getting married because she believes it's the right thing to do at 29 years old. Number one, getting married at 29 years old for a female is not a bad choice.
No.
Number two, you don't even know the guy she's marrying, so you're just making a lot of assumptions. Number three, I don't even think you want to sweep her off her feet. You've never said that that's your style. You've been dating other women. So even if that was true, you're not going to do it. She said she's ready to put an end to casual hookups, but really, why does she ask me to dinner then?
Play more games.
This is like, to me, and this is my phrase, so don't, if you hear it anywhere else, she's cat pawing you.
Yeah.
She's just playing with you.
Yeah.
And maybe you do hook up, but
if you're hooking up with other chicks, dude, I mean, why even go this way? You know,
what do you make of it all? He writes at the end. I think I just told you. Like I said, I think she's cat pawing. I think she likes attention. And she's setting you up in case it doesn't work out with the other guy. And she still, maybe she has a feelings and attraction to you.
Sure.
And likes the challenge.
Sure.
But if you hook up, it's not going to go smooth. It's not going to just go like, oh, we're just friends with benefits and we just, hang out here and there. I think that best case scenario, you hook up a few times and then don't talk to each other again. Let me take this. I'm just gonna tell him B. That was B's story actually. His one time.
You're not supposed to let people know. Yeah, he enjoys the.
See how that would be more shameful when we were talking about shame. If you say, it's like actually that was B's story. It's like, wow.
Thanks, man.
No, I'm just joking.
Maybe he just likes the ups and downs of it. Maybe the roller coaster of it. Maybe.
I think anytime a guy has an option with an attractive woman that he's attracted to, that he has a history with, I think when a guy has a history, or even when a woman has a history and you've already broke the seal, it's different. The case has already been cracked once where you're like, we can do that again.
Do that again for sure. Yeah.
Like it's not as difficult to realize like, would we hook up? Is it going to happen? It's like, no, it's already happened.
We know that answer. So
right. Wow, we got 18 on deck today. People like friends with benefits and how it works. Maybe he enjoys the roller coaster of drama. Maybe.
I mean, it's possible.
Like I said, I think he's just going, well, maybe we could hook up. Why would a guy with options waste time with this? Great question, Rye Flint.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying.
And I'll tell you what. It's the power of the pie. I would say that he's attracted to her. He didn't mention how attracted. This is why.
Yeah, even like Rob just said, maybe his other options are on the lower end of things. They're on the lower scale. So,
if he's attracted to her on a scale of 1 to 10 and 8, 9, or 10, he's probably like, oh. And if they had intimacy before, he's like, oh. That's why he's pondering it. This guy's giving off beta vibes, huh? The fact his even wasting time with his means he cares.
Yeah, if you didn't care, you wouldn't even entertain the date or the dinner. Or
really needs to read a few books that answer some questions regarding these sort of situations. There's some books specifically about these situations.
Specifically, or chapters.
Why would you want to be friends with benefits when she can go on Tinder and have multiple different guys all the time?
Oh, specifically from her view?
Well,
yeah, maybe the attraction's there already,
I think this idea that women have all these options on Tinder, they still have to sift through a lot of it and have a lot of negative experiences. That's the feedback I've gotten. Because even though they get all this attention, it still takes a lot of work, right? It's like if you go to a fishing hole and there's a lot of fish there, you still got to throw a lot of them back.
What's the quality like?
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's a ton of fish there. It doesn't mean that it's more fun to fish there than somewhere else that has quality fish.
Quality fish might be a little more challenging.
The river runs through it.
Yep.
Well, the 3% man has some info semi-related, would help him understand reaction. Okay.
That's the Corey Wayne?
His attraction level to her is pretty high. I mean, one thing that he's saying is the whole time he's handled the breakups or the interactions the way I would tell you. Okay, I understand. Okay, I'm going to date some other women. Okay, I'm doing fine. He's not beside himself here.
No.
Right? He's not beside himself or anything. I don't know if it's one-eyed either because he's mentioned that he's dated other women. Right?
Yeah, that's the puzzling thing. If you've got other women that you're talking to, why even, unless you're highly attracted to this person, this lady, I don't know. Yeah, you don't know the quality of the other ones,
which would be debatable by the individual.
Sure, yeah.
Like what B would think was quality and what I thought was quality would be, two different things possibly.
Yeah, we'd have to ask him.
I'll tell you one that pops out to me is that that just Pearly things, the redhead. What would you say she is on a scale of 1 to 10 attraction wise, B?
8 or 9, probably.
No way.
I don't personally.
You'd give her an 8 or 9?
No, like my personal.
Are you being sarcastic? Okay,
I'm being funny.
Jeez.
Like I would say, just personally,
I was going to tell you to get some glasses.
Maybe a 5 or 6.
Now the only reason I'm mocking or because this woman's in her videos is so judgmental, and here's the thing about this red pill space now, and because there's women taking it on now because it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
They're just putting out there.
As this just got bigger or gained steam in the last 2 or 3 years.
But here's the thing about it that irritates me. Is they're literally Fresh and Fit, these other groups. Some of the things are true. But they're acting like they're a spokesperson for all men and women. Well, men do this, women do. Who made you the spokesman for fucking me? You're speaking for all men and women. And then she's constantly talking about like attraction. She's talking down about women, and I'm like, where does she fall in the pecking order? I mean, I don't know. B doesn't want to get into it because she's a big fan of her. But
I'm subscribed, man.
It's unbelievable.
Right,
what was the video I saw earlier?
What would you rate her then? You put me on the spot. What would you give her?
Pearly things?
Yeah.
Probably a 2.
There you go.
And that's being nice, maybe. Let me see here. Where was it?
She gets money for yeah, definitely.
I'm just saying, if you're going to be critical of looks and different things, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Let me see here. Let me pull one out here. What's the one I'm thinking of? I didn't know this. Hold on a sec. Key Lee, what are your thoughts on no contact rule? I need to know your story. No contract rule or no contact rule? No contact is when negotiations end. That's my short answer. So you're in a breakup, your ex doesn't want to be with you anymore, or you can't get past the fact that they did XYZ, they stole money from you, they cheated on you, they did something that's beyond repair. You've tried to work it out. Negotiations are off. You need to stop. It's okay. I got you, bud. You got to there's no more to talk about.
And it's not, from when I watched your videos and hear you talk about it, it's not to get back at somebody. Right?
No,
it's not for vengeance or
and really what you're doing is you're doing the walk away. Right. It's like when I used to be in real estate. It's like the art of the deal or anything like that. It's like, all right, I'll give you $500,000 for this house, and someone goes, oh no, we're looking for a higher buyer. Bye-bye. Now we just take it. It's called the takeaway. It's not called the no contact rule. It's called the takeaway. So now if I take the option away from you, you have to go, wait a minute. What did I lose here? Right? When something's taken away from someone, just like a small child has 15 toys, right? Or 3 toys or 5 toys that they don't play with, they haven't played with for 3 months, and some of their kid comes over and starts playing with their toy. What do? Hey, that's my toy. Right? No contact is when negotiations are off. We're at a stalemate. There's no more to talk about. You can relate it, like I said, you're buying a car, someone goes, yeah, I want 25 grand for it. You're like, I'll give you 20. And they're like, are you serious, man? They start talking shit to you. They're like, are you nuts? Have you seen the car? And you're like, I only got 20 grand. They go, hey, how about 23? You go, nope, 20 grand. And then you walk away because you're like, I'll only pay 20 grand. That's my bottom line. Really, in relationships, it's very much like that. But the short answer, it's very much that. The other point, oh, they're seeing someone else. They left me and they said that they're not in love with me anymore. What's the other option? Flowers, cards, candy. Hey, I'll change. Hey, I'm so sorry. Sorry, dude. It's not a Michael J. Fox movie from the 80s. Okay?
You get some good movies.
Right? It's just... All right, let me pull this up real quick. Keely, you've been on before. Did you want to... Like I said, we got 17 on deck. If you have a situation you want to come on deck right now, the link's in here. If you guys want to come on live and talk for a little bit about anything relationship based,
or situationship based.
Yeah. This is what's great about StreamYard. We can bring you right on. So, Keely, if you got a situation, you want to give me a little bit, shed a little more light on it. And if you don't want to use your video, you don't have to. You can go sound only. Where did this go? I just had it. Oh, okay. Oh, this is what a dandy this is. I'm curious about how Pearl got into the manosphere. So B says she's about a 5 or 6.
Sure.
With his legs shaking and kind of nodding his head, body language like, no, not really. Just trying to be not okay. So we got this on? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna predict she got in the manosphere because it was an opportunity for marketing. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean,
just, we'll see what she has to say.
Someone sent me a Kevin Samuels video, and that was like the beginning of me and like the red pill stuff. Was I started reacting to Kevin Samuels, and I just thought it was really interesting. So what happened was when I was doing rap video reactions, someone sent me a Kevin Samuels video, and that was like the beginning of me and like the red pill stuff. Was I started reacting to Kevin Samuels, and I just thought it was really interesting. So what happened was when I was doing.
So she just found it interesting.
I gotta pull up the other one. Look, Rob won't say. It's like
not a 6. So
just some of the rhetoric she comes up with. She just they rehearse these things. All right, here's a statement. Right. A woman knows within the first 5 minutes if she wants to fuck a guy or not. Is that absolutely true?
That's a red pill.
It's a Bible.
Saying.
It's an absolute.
Okay.
Do you think that's absolutely true?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I don't know. That one's kind of. I mean, yeah, you immediately know if you kind of are attracted to somebody you want to.
But have you ever been attracted? Have you ever thought
yeah.
someone's like you're not sure about them? Yeah. Or I think for women, I don't think it's that cut and dry. I think there are moments where it is, right?
Yeah.
But I think for men and women, there's certainly cases where they can you have someone grow on them or something like that. That's in first 3 seconds. I'm saying that you know that, but there are also situations where you do meet someone that possibly you weren't attracted to at first that surprises you later on that you slept with them or hooked up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I'm saying the rule's true. It's just not always true. It's not going to negate the fact that Rye Flint's like, yeah, I know if I want to hook up with someone the first time I meet him, on an attraction level.
Right.
But are you saying that there are times that you could be surprised that the first time you met someone, you weren't attracted to them or you were neutral, and then over time, maybe through work or something else like that, that they could grow on you? It's just not cut and dry. That's all.
But there is some truth to it. But it's not, right?
It's not an absolute.
No, it's not an absolute, no.
The problem with it is young guys will go, oh, yeah, that's true, man. And then she doesn't hook. Like, I have young clients that are like in their 20s. Dude, if she doesn't hook up in the first 2 dates, I'm done. I'm like, really? It's like, so you don't like, that's well, that means she's not into me then. I'm like,
yeah.
All right. I don't know. People used to find that to be admirable, and
you would hold out for a while.
Yeah,
and get to know somebody.
Yeah. I've guy clients in their 20s all the time saying that.
That's got to be a product of,
and they're like, because she knows already. She wants. It's like
that's got to be a product of Instagram culture. This younger
red
generation.
Building.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
hold on. I'm gonna pull this up.
See, no one has ever grown on Rye. She's been out. She's into him or she's not.
All right. So just tell me what you... I can add it here, huh? Oh, I can add there? Okay. Let's just take a look at this one.
So quick to jump. They're like, well, you're not a wife. Well, you're a modern woman. You're not prioritizing finding a husband. I'm like, guys, I'm so smart. I figured out a way to make my job getting better for my husband. Like to find a husband. Anyways. Again, I'm smart. Now, everyone is so quick to jump. They're like, well, you're not a wife. Well, you're a modern woman. You're not prioritizing finding a husband. I'm like, guys, I'm so smart. I figured out a way to make my job getting better for my husband. Like to find a husband. Anyways.
B puts her at a 5 or 6. I got you. All right. Extremely generous individual.
Yeah, smart people don't talk about how smart they are.
No, there are no such situations of surprise here. When a person speaks and stands in front of me, those 3 seconds are enough talking about attraction. Really? Do you think it's different for guys then?
Yeah, I would think.
I definitely have women that you're like right away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so look at it like this, Sabina. Anything that you could turn up the volume on, you can turn down the volume on. So this is something I learned. So for example, when you have anxiety, not you specifically, but let's say you have anxiety at the airport because you're scared of airplanes. You're turning up that anxiety through some triggers, right? Mm-hmm. So like, you start to visualize some bad things, this and that. You can turn down the anxiety just as you turn it up, right? If you can turn something up, you can turn it down. That's just the law of nature. So when you're amped up and you're attracted to someone, I'm with you. But when they can become unattractive, right? So think about this. Stay with me. If you're attracted to someone, and I'm sure you're going to say this is true, you can lose attraction to them in an hour, in a minute, by the way they talk, they act, or they got food in their mouth, right? So you could gain attraction the same way you can lose attraction. Having that thought when you first meet someone, I'm with you, but it could go from there, from that initial meeting point, it can go up or down. True or not true?
True, but what's the ceiling? Like how far up?
I'm not going to address that. That's a stupid question. No, I'm just.
How dare you?
That's just, come on, man.
Don't shame
What's
me.
the ceiling?
Don't shame me. Yeah, I mean, like if you're really unattracted to somebody, like, in the first 3 seconds, if I meet a girl and I'm like, no, I'm not attracted to this person at all. Like, okay, how much are we going to go up from there? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they could probably grow on me a little bit. But
okay, so I get your question now. That's why a scale of 1 to 10 works.
Right. So like if they're at 4 on my
I would say
list,
3 to 4 would be the ones that are.
They're like not even, okay, we're not going to go there.
Well, I would say if clothes on, clothes off. That could change the scenario.
Okay, that could change.
All of a sudden you're like, oh, I didn't know you had that. Right? So it's like,
so there are other factors for sure, but the initial, meeting somebody, it means a lot, I think.
Hobosexuals? What's a hobosexual? Like a lazy person? I'm mostly not attracted to anyone, so I am a hard case. So here's
okay.
All right, so here's an interesting one. It's a great movie that's kind of underrated. Is it Unbroken or Broken with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson?
Unbreakable.
Yeah. Is that the one?
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was interesting. This is a while back in one of my YouTube feeds. Quentin Tarantino had a list of his top 20 favorite movies. And that's pretty interesting because he's a pretty eclectic.
Yeah, he likes.
I would like to know what I probably wouldn't like the same movies.
He likes old westerns and shit like that. Like
right, and he's
movies
got
from the
iconic
50s,
different type of movies. So I watched that video all the way through, and I was surprised that was one of his top 20. And I was like, wow. I mean, I thought it was an okay to good movie, but it was like this superhero movie.
But there's some other underlying things that if you really like dig deep into it, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's
he said it's the story of Superman.
Right. There's some underlying things.
He's like, they should have just made it a Superman movie. My point is, the point of the movie is there's opposites of everyone around the world. So the point is, if there's a Superman, there's someone that's bones break easily, that, you know what I mean, on the other end. So my point is, like Sabina says, I'm mostly not attracted to anyone. Ha, 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 but true. So I am a hard case. Okay. So we could agree that there's some women out there and men out there that are attracted to everyone.
Sure.
Or 80 to 90%. And the sad thing is probably if that's a girl, they'd call her a hoe, which isn't fair.
No.
But for a guy, you know what I mean? I have friends, I joke around about it. I'm like, oh, this guy will just take a pulse. Like, anyone that walks by, it's like, did you see that? Did you see? It's just like, whoa, man. Like, there's no, do you know what I mean? There's it's just every girl that walks by. So when you make assessments like that, when you think about it, if you have the mindset you're not attracted, it's really hard to be attracted to someone.
There's an opposite out there.
There's an opposite. So basically a freeloader who uses a relationship as a means to gain things he should normally pay for, but is too cheap or lazy to do so.
Oh. That's a hobo section.
I thought a hobo was a homeless person.
Well, that's what he's kind of. That's what it kind of is. Gain things, yeah. So that's the sole purpose of the relationship.
So if we're talking about attraction, like how much would you say, this is a good question for B, if you're attracted to someone on the pie chart, how much of your attraction would be based on personality?
On personality?
Well, that answered the question right there.
Man.
You just want like his personality?
Well, that's going to change.
So like
initially, that's going to be a very low percentage. I mean, maybe not.
Right.
Super low.
You meet.
Right. It's going to change.
You meet a girl that you're attracted to, you get her number, or you meet her on Tinder or any of these other places, right? But I'm saying that
it's going to get
what
bigger.
part of the attraction is going to be
right. Initially, it's going to be a smaller percentage, but as time moves on,
I know. Just give me
a number.
20% out of 100, 10%.
Yeah, we'll say 25.
Wow.
Initially,
I didn't know you were that shallow.
Initially, yeah. Attraction when you first meet somebody has to count. Has to be high up there. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but for me, yeah, I think that's an important part.
Have you been attracted to a woman that instantly turned you off with their personality?
Like the minute we just start hanging out, I'm just nah. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, hobo is mostly without a home. Would a hobo be considered unisex, women and men? are just men.
There's got to be some female hobos out there. Come on.
They're called gold diggers usually, aren't they?
No, I mean, just
would that be different?
Yeah, I guess so.
Riflin, are you ready to get on the air and talk about these things or what? No. All right, here's a dandy. Here's a dandy. The problem with this rhetoric, excuse me. Hold on. Watch this. 5 or 6, huh?
They're driven now and independent, and now it's the opposite where men cannot, or men feel insecure that they're not able to keep up with a woman that is making a certain amount of money. So they decide that they do not want to get married.
Men don't care if you're independent.
Oh, they do.
No, they don't. I'm telling you.
They do.
Okay,
Personal experience.
Okay, well.
Okay, so thanks, Pearl, but don't speak for all men. This is what I'm talking about. And you know what's crazy about these kind of shows is they create false scenarios. I've done it before. I usually grab anecdotal stories or we talk about stories or real situations. It's like men do this, women do that. It's like, and then people believe it and make it part of their life. No, men do. It's like, really? You're 26 years old. You have that much experience with men?
But you can't take the, okay, well, maybe some, whatever.
It's
she
ridiculous.
Has to go know all.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I do pretty well with my channel. I employ like 10 people, and I'm telling you, men don't give a shit. Like they don't care at all. They only what?
You say you polled 10 people?
I employ 10 people.
Oh,
I employ 10 people with my channel, roughly. I don't I have to count the contract. I don't know. roughly. Yeah. And I'm saying like men don't care. They just care when you throw it in your face. So when you say things, I don't think you understand like how men hear when you're saying I'm strong, I'm independent. Like men want to be needed. When you say I don't need you, like that's a red flag to a guy. So when you come at a guy and you say like I'm strong, I'm independent, like the way they see that is I don't need you. Why would I want to be with a woman that like doesn't need me?
And more career driven now and independent, and now it's the opposite where men cannot, or men feel insecure that they're not able to keep up with a woman that is.
So these scenarios are just, oh God. Don't relate your life to individuals that speak for all men and all women. That's all I'm going to say. Like, figure out your problems, your issues, and see through them. Like, don't be suggested on how to live your life as a man or woman. I have 10 people that work for me, so I know what all men think. It's just so fucking.
That's the
She's saying that men are saying that they don't like independent women. They don't like women that work. They don't like. There's guys that like that. Right? Even if it's not me, it's not that simple. And the fact that you've got 10 guys that work for you and you're some kind of genius on men now.
But I like using that. Oh, I employ 10 people, so I know what I'm talking about. Like, okay, I'm famous, so I'm smart.
You see the body language in the video? That's not attractive to me. So big no. You mean for the females? The body language in video, that's not attractive to me. Some big no. Oh, okay. I would think most men are not really attracted to women that start to act like men. I mean, would you say that? Okay, so that's like Pearly things. It's like her idea that she knows all these things about men. Would that be attractive?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know you're already on 5 or 6. And you're not being honest. You got your fingers crossed when you said that. You look person.
I'm being nice, yeah.
You look person without sound. That happens a lot now. Okay. What a single-minded woman. I'm just saying, like, listen to how many of these types of channels are like, men are like this, women are like this. And then they'll create a scenario that supports their idea that's very broad, very general. This is why I like sharing people's stories, because it's not broad and general. It's very specific.
Mm-hmm.
I'm driving right now. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oddly, the woman in that case is very likely.
Subconsciously learn to have the beta man, since his attractions once again will repel attraction. Yeah.
B, I mean, in all honesty, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I know you don't mind.
Go for it.
But a lot of people have been asking, what's your ideal woman?
My ideal woman.
See?
Jesus.
He can't even say it. I know what he's thinking, too. I know the first thing he's thinking. I'm not going to say it because it's inappropriate for this channel. But what's your ideal woman? Just putting it out there right now.
Wow.
I think it should be, I mean, you should know yourself by this point in your life. You're in your mid-30s. You should know what your ideal woman is.
Shit, I don't know. Shit, that's gonna take a lot. That's gonna take a lot. My ideal woman. I can't answer that. I don't know. That is putting me on the spot for sure, but I have no idea.
It's very common. Those situations just fall apart eventually. Okay. Anyone want to hop on the screen and share your story, your situation? If not, I think I might have to call it a day, because this is ridiculous. B doesn't even know who his ideal woman is on the situation like this. It's really, come on, B, homework for next stream.
There we go. So give me some homework. I got it. We're good.
I mean, when he's got pearly things on a 5 or 6.
Red hair, ideally. I don't know.
A know-it-all.
No.
Yeah, a know-it-all about men. That would probably be one of the worst cases. Well, men do this. Well, men do that. Well, women do this. Well, men, you know what men do, because I have 10 work. It's like, okay. I started doing my channel when I was reviewing rap videos, and then I switched over to this. It's like, oh, cool.
That was a smooth transition.
Yeah. Come on, B. B doesn't want to say what he's thinking.
You know, our personalities just line up perfectly.
All right, here's another question for B. What would be your perfect date?
Ooh. Perfect date. Holding hands, walking on the beach in the sunset.
Come on, man. Let's be honest.
That's my honest opinion.
See, that's perspective of a male, right? What do you mean? What is it?
I just told you.
You don't have an ideal date?
An ideal? I guess it would depend on who I'm asking out on a date.
You would change your dating
if I got
destinations
if I was
based on the
somebody,
individual that you're going out with?
Possibly, yeah.
Man. Do you have some go-to spots?
Go-to spots. I mean, I've always just liked the simple. I mean, for me, I think I've talked about it before. I loved having my date come over and we cook dinner, that kind of stuff. That was personally, I love that. But
Cooking dinner together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if we're going out,
would that be a first date or a second date?
maybe like second, third, something like that. A little bit later on.
What would you cook?
Salmon. That's my go-to.
Why salmon?
That's my go-to. I don't know. I love a salmon like salad. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have an ideal date? I believe the best one I ever heard is someone was getting their ex back and they were renting a stagecoach.
You've said that before.
Because I was like, what?
Before.
He's like, oh yeah, I got a stagecoach. I said, excuse me? It was like a major city. I'm like, don't do that.
But maybe I don't. Yeah.
That was the best. What's my ideal date?
Not a stagecoach.
Definitely doing something active. I wouldn't have salmon dinner at the house. That's just
never done it. You've never done it.
I would love to have salmon dinner at the house, but I wouldn't be cooking it. Maybe I'd have it already prepared by my chef, and
so that's like, are we talking first date here? Like ideal first date or ideal?
I always
date?
think dinner. Dinner's always good. Dinner at a good place and a good location,
good
leading
vibe.
to somewhere else afterwards. It's always good because I like to talk. So I like the opportunity to talk a little bit.
You like to talk?
I think going on the beach for the first time is a little heavy unless the beach is close by. A hot air balloon for the because ideal date is not first date. Yeah,
that's.
Hiking is probably one of my favorites just because it's close to where I'm at. I passed out. It was so funny. He's still on deck.
Yeah, right likes the simple dates of just hot air balloons.
Yeah. I like walks on the beach. Yeah.
I'm saying.
You want to know what's funny though? Is that how much does having a few drinks help things move along?
Yeah, what did you say? Grease wheels?
Grease the wheels. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
It's not like I'm not speaking like someone that has to drink or loves drinking, but I've just noticed, especially if you've dated a few times and you're just kind of in that in between stage, kind of like each other. It's like it kicks it into the next gear just having a wine or two or a beer.
Yeah, not going over the top.
No, I'm not talking about getting drunk. No. Because that's different. That's different. Rob, I have beach in front of my home.
See, that could be a good date.
It's definitely counts how close you live to the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone have any closing questions? Let's get into that time. Anyone want to hop on the stream with any of their issues that aren't the regulars? I think B is king.
That's right.
You don't know him that well. Imagine living in South LA and you want to walk on a date. I wouldn't even imagine that. I've heard it's gotten tough there. Nice. LA. We have a lake. We have a lake beach.
Yeah, those can be nice, like Tahoe.
Here, not too far from me. Nowhere near as good as an ocean beach.
Oh.
We have a lake beach. Cool, man. I prefer rivers.
You never went to the beach on Lake Tahoe?
Yeah.
It's nice there.
Yeah, that's true. Lake Tahoe is pretty nice.
I mean, Tahoe is pretty nice.
So. I'll take an ocean beach any day of the week, but I like rivers and creeks better.
Do a little fishing.
Sandusky. I don't know. I've never been to Ohio.
Isn't that?
I have a client that's from Ohio that always talks.
Isn't that Tommy Boy?
Sandusky's Ohio.
I think that's Tommy Boy.
Fat man in a little coat.
Tell me if Tommy Boy's in Sandusky or from the movie.
Coach B is king, but you are God. Thank you. That's great. See ya.
Yeah.
Wow, it's called Sandusky? Sandusky?
Sandusky. Yeah.
Isn't that? Oh, I don't even want to go there with that.
What are you gonna say?
Because I think that's remember that Penn State scandal?
Oh yeah,
I think that's the name of the coach.
it is. It is.
Thanks, Miguel. I appreciate you, bud. Good hypnosis today. Good session. Sam Lujan, good night. Rob, bye all. Rye Flint, thanks for riding. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Sabina, it's been a slice. And Rob IS, Guardian of the Gate. All right, folks. It's been good. It's been grand. I appreciate you all. Take care.
Later, guys. See
Good
you
live
on
stream.
the next one.